Okay, great. Wow. Mm, great day to be having a great conversation about body health and strengthening our immunity. Hello, Love Posse. Welcome to this conversation, Body Health, Foods That Strengthen Our Immunity, with Sandra Kimler, international speaker, vegan nutritionist, best-selling author. Now, before we get started, I like to honor this day. I've already lit the candles. In the Northern Hemisphere, it's the winter solstice, and it's the summer solstice. In the Southern Hemisphere, where you live in Australia, it's also a special day because Jupiter and Saturn conjunct in Aquarius. We're entering a new age. So it's time for a new body. It's time for body health, right? For 2021, body health. Welcome, welcome. Uh, Sandra Kimler, many of you know San is my best friend, so I say San. You'll hear me call her San. Welcome, welcome, San.
Thank you, Tiff. Always a pleasure to be on your show and be interviewed by you. You're so inspirational for so many people out there, and it's an honor to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. So, body health, foods that strengthen our immunity. How long have you been into nutritional health?
Yeah, a long, long time because I was actually born with a really weak immunity. And back then, my parents just medicated me, and it wasn't making me better at all. In fact, I was gradually getting worse. And I was hospitalized many times with asthma attacks. I had earaches, just a lot of inflammation. And it wasn't until I was about 16 and my mother just said, "This is not working." And she looked for alternative ways. And she found Dr. Bernard Jensen in America. We had nothing like this here in Australia at the time. And she said, "Come on, we're going to go." And we went and saw him. Now, he was a natural doctor. He was actually a chiropractor first, but then became an iridologist, a naturopath, and he kept on studying till the day he passed away. The result of that was that he looked into my iris and said, "Well, you've got leaky bowel and it's very acidic. You need to change your diet." So I was with him for 10 days and I went from feeling really weak and sick to feeling like amazing is a big word, but for me it was amazing because I had energy. I was one of those people that fell asleep during the day, even at the age of 18. So my mother continued the study and she became a naturopath and opened up a women's clinic in Melbourne, or an, it was a health clinic, but we had mostly women clients. And I started working with her. And so from the age of 16 onward, it's been my passion, my journey, I um, research it. It is part of my life. So that's a very long time ago.
Well,
Since I'm
I'm
now
so
heading towards
happy.
60. Huh?
I said I'm so happy you're here to share,
Yeah.
your wisdom and your knowledge and what you know about body health with
Yes.
all those who will listen in and watch this video.
Yeah. Tiff, what is so important is that we know our body really, really well because there's that tipping point. Because our body is always in repair mode. Now remember that repair mode. Because our body, with the foods we eat, it's able to repair day after day after day for the, our entire life. It will repair. So
Mhm.
what we need is the right foods to support that. If you don't, if you eat your burgers and drink your soft drinks and all that, it's still trying to repair, but it's almost impossible. And there's that tipping point where you then become sick because your body is just exhausted. And that's where I actually was when my mom took me. I was at that, I passed the tipping point. I wasn't well. I would not have gone better at all. So, but for the general viewers out there, remember that there are foods that repair and foods that does exactly the opposite. And what are they? What are those foods?
Yeah.
A really easy way to remember is, does your food have a vegetable name? Like, is it a botanical name? Does your food have a botanical name? It's a really good one to remember, because if it does, guarantee it will repair you. If it doesn't, let's say pasta, what's the botanical name of pasta? It don't have one. So pasta is not one that will repair. It doesn't always say that mean that it will weaken,
You're right.
but it just means it won't repair.
Yes. And well, I know that food can be extremely addictive, so it may be challenging for people to eat foods that they are not familiar with, they haven't eaten, or to we grow up, eating foods. When we're sad, we have comfort food, or a lot of people like to say, um, this is my family's culture or tradition. Um, and then maybe so tradition is great up to the point that it causes harm, because because as you mentioned, food can either repair or cause some harm. And people may say, well, we are different, our bodies are different, and I tend to believe that our bodies are different. Like, I can't eat I used to be able to eat onions. Now I can't eat onions because they give me a tummy ache, but I know that because I pay attention to what I eat. So
Very good. Can I just butt in there?
yeah,
Because
I want you to.
you know how it hurts our eyes when we cut the onion? That's as much as it hurts our stomach, and we don't pay attention. I don't eat onions either, but I can eat onions. I actually can. I'm strong enough now to have onions, but I don't do it because no, it's one of those things that don't make me stronger. Um, Sorry, I did interrupt you there, but I do
No.
want to say something,
Yes.
that foods that are addictive are usually acidic. And I've got a graph here, and you can actually Google this graph or a similar graph. It's you Google alkaline foods versus acidic foods, and you'll get a graph similar to this. It could be different, could be with pictures. Pictures are even better because it'll give you more visual, um, understanding. But the green part, that the pH of the foods in the green part is very congruent with our own pH, which is 7.4. So these foods are all around 7.4. What does that mean? That means that when we eat it, our body doesn't need to take any energy to absorb it, to work with it. It all has fiber to pass it through, right? So it's one of those building foods. And they are our greens, of course, and our fruits. Well, there is a lot there. As you can see, there's a lot there. Unfortunately, none of that is addictive. Unfortunately, the other one is neutral, and there's things like corn. Corn tends to be a 7. 6.9. It's neutral, what I call neutral. We can have acidic foods in terms of our nuts and our seeds. Corn, they are all slightly acidic because we need acidity too. Acidity make our brain work. Acidity is like an energy, whereas alkalizing is like harm. It's the green. So the red is unfortunately 80% of all the foods we eat and drink. So we should swap that one around. Try to have 80% of this section and 20% of that direction. But in today's society, it's reversed. This is your hamburgers, your meat. Well, I should say animal protein, because animal protein is acidic. Your canned food, your pizza, your pasta, it's all of that. Bread. Yeah, it is donuts.
Make those acidic, like canned food. A lot of people
Oh, yeah.
eat. I mean, it's convenient for them to buy canned food.
Yeah.
because because of the price, or they'll say I grew up on that, or it's just easier for me to get canned food. They don't want to cook.
Yeah.
So what makes canned food acidic?
The way it is cooked, the way it is processed, the way it is, and the can itself. If you ever test the water, it's just hugely acidic, the whole thing. So closely to raw as possible. I'm not a raw vegan by any means, but I do believe we need at least 60% of our food to be raw. Why? Because raw has a lot of fiber. It is much harder to eat a carrot, takes forever, than a steamed carrot, a cooked carrot. I mean, you can have 12 carrots and you're not full. So it breaks down the fiber. When you eat raw, you cannot eat that much. So, and people say to me, I can't eat raw. Well, that's because you've lost those enzymes that break down the fiber. But keep going with your carrots, apple, fruit. You can grate beetroot. Grated beetroot is amazing. We need grated beetroot one way or another every day. Beetroot is a blood builder, very important. So grate that, eat that, have it in your salad. It'll turn your salad red with whatever, you know. If that's what it takes to make you more healthier, do it. Just do it. But unfortunately, these foods also have a lot of salt, fat, and sugar in them. Now, as we know, that is highly, highly addictive. And it is a problem because we do feel like those foods, especially around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we feel like a snack of either chocolate or something salty, and we grab those foods. And here is what I always say, it's not what you do every day. Um, it's the other way around. It's not what you do every now and then that will harm you. It is what you do every day. So what you do every day, if you have a good start to your day with your fruit and veggies, your salads, your legumes, your beans, your sprouts. Sprouts are actually superfood. Sprouts and berries. Berries are not, you only need a handful of berries, and it doesn't matter which berry. Blueberries, I think, are the highest in iron and vitamin C. So they are the most powerful, but any berry has a power to it that other foods kind of miss. So if you have that as a basis every day, who cares that every now and then you have a donut or a packet of chips? Your body can actually handle it. We are actually designed for that because you know what our body will do? Whoa, we've got to fight against this, guys. Come on. So it can make you stronger as long as the norm, what you do every day, is the foods that heal you, the foods that help you repair. And everything in moderation, well, it's what we say, well, have this as a one, not have donuts in
Have what?
moderation.
Have what are you pointing to? Have what?
This whole thing should be seen as one item. So when you say everything in moderation, pick one thing, like pick either chocolate or chips or donut or whatever, and let that be the one thing, because everything in moderation. So, okay, so in the morning, you have a bit of your cereal that's high in sugar, everything in moderation. For lunch, you have your white bread with whatever is on it, which is no good for you, and you go by everything in moderation. And your dinner is well, these days we don't tend to cook that much anymore. Well, that is a day of with a diet that depletes you, that depletes your body. So see all that as one thing, everything in moderation. Just pick one little bit for the day, and that can be your moderation.
Okay, that's a great tip. If because in the beginning, this is what I've learned from my experience. In the beginning, when we are letting those foods that do not repair the body, when we are letting those go and not ingesting them or eating those foods, you're going to go through a withdrawal. Your mind's going to start attacking you. You know, we need that, you know, with its this little chatter and all of that. But the tip is to go slowly, and instead of just letting go of everything at once, which some people can do, some people can't, is to do it in moderation. You can have one thing here, and then the rest of it, have it be leafy greens or foods that repair the body.
Exactly. That is it. So I'm not saying never have junk food again. I'm just saying just remember all the foods that repair and have that mainly, and you will be able to have some junk. Our body is strong enough. Absolutely.
So I just want to get a sort of get a working list for people, because we've been talking about, the chart and this and that. So foods that repair in general, leafy greens.
Absolutely. So it's all your alkalizing food. So we're looking at leafy greens like your kale, your spinach. Celery is hugely cleansing. And look, when I say this, it's always organic. I do not, if it's not organic, I don't see it as a health food. You can have non-organic celery in your salad, but to me, it's not something, the body will have to repair that. The body will have to get rid of those toxins. So whatever food I say, it's always organic. The beetroot, definitely. Carrot, definitely. If that's on a daily basis, that's wonderful. But regardless of that, all your legumes, your beans, your sprouts. Sprouts are amazing. Your berries, like I mentioned before, all the fruits and all the vegetables. And I'm saying all the fruits. And if we do have acidic fruits, and have the acidic fruits first thing in the morning, if you have it later at night, it tends to produce mucus, which is also a good thing because it means you've got mucus, which needs to come out. But in the morning, it is better for you because it will alkalize the body rather than if you have it in the afternoon. So, yeah.
And okay, and you just brought up something for me. So people who may be new to this immunity thing, they may go to doctors who don't mention alkaline versus acidity because they didn't learn about it. They don't,
Yeah.
most physicians, especially in the Western world, may take a 2-hour class or to know if that, because I actually read that only 5% of medical schools may offer a 1 to 2 hour class on nutrition. So doctors focus on body and nutritionists focus on food. So in the medical industry, especially in the Western world, in the United States, doctors may know absolutely nothing about nutrition or alkaline versus acidity. So can you explain alkaline versus acidity and why that's important in terms of body health?
Yeah, great question, Tiff, because our body is 7.4 pH in alkalinity. So it's slightly alkaline. So that's why it's important to eat foods that are slightly alkaline. Whereas things like coffee is extremely acidic. It's like a 5.5 to 6. So the body needs to go through an enormous amount of energy to neutralize it and to get rid of it. So if doctors would know that, well, doctors don't need to know that. Look, doctors study medication and they're very good at it. But it's very much this way. Yes. They don't even study where the condition comes from. That's why when you have diabetes, you'll get, insulin shots rather than saying change your diet. In fact, doctors will say diet has anything to do with it. And look, a lot of doctors are changing because it has been proven now that, let's say, diabetes is very much got to do with what we eat, the wrong foods. But so is heart disease, so is high cholesterol, so are allergies, so is asthma. All these things that we have are because we're eating the wrong food. And if your condition is caused by the wrong food, then only the right type of food can heal you. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. It does make sense. And I know people who see this are going to say that that's not the sole reason why people get sick. And but it is one of the important reasons, and it's something that we can change, because there's also toxins and chemicals in the air, and toxins we have in our house, and it's also mind, you know,
Stress.
stress as
Yeah.
well. But if we can change one thing, because most people are not necessarily going to change their job or whatever stress or in their lives, or know how to deal with that, but they can change their food, which is important for body health. And you mentioned diabetes. I remember my great grandmother had diabetes, and her particular doctor was a little bit more expansive. So he did tell her, he worked with a dietitian, which I'll ask you a question next, who told her what foods that she shouldn't be eating for her diabetes. And fortunately, those foods that she loved and was addicted to, and she didn't give them up. And she actually died from diabetes. So um, if you can add to more what I just said, and then also I want you to tell everybody the difference between a dietitian and a nutritionist.
Okay. I'll reflect on what we said before. Look, stress in our lives due to work, relationships, money, whatever, we can actually deal with stress. We are designed to deal with stress. But a long-term stress, we are
Yes,
not designed to deal with that.
yes,
However, it's been proven that if you have a healthy diet, you tend to be able to handle stress a lot better than if you are on a diet. I'll call it a weak diet rather than a strong diet. So if you have stress in your life, start eating a lot more raw, a lot more food with a lot of energy, because everything's got an energy. So bring that into your life. It might not take the stress away, but it will change the level of anxiety you get from it. Because stress, it breaks down the body. The body kind of follows your mind, right? So if you're unhappy here, it's hard for the body to be good. So try to be as healthy as possible. It will support your stresses in life. Now, difference between a dietitian and a nutritionist. A dietitian is also a nutritionist, but a nutritionist is not a dietitian. Dietitian tends to work for government-based institutes like doctors, hospitals. They tend to be more institutionalized. Being a nutritionist, it gives me a lot of I can continue asking questions. I'm not bound to the triangle that we
pyramid.
learn. A
Yeah,
pyramid, yeah, like dietitians will have to stay because look, and dietitians tend to be for people who are sickly, whereas nutritionists, if your health is there but you want to go there, then I feel nutritionists have a better understanding of the foods that you can have. But by no means, you know, it's so different that it's hard to compare the two. But
yeah.
I am not a dietitian, even though I know it all. I would not say I'm a dietitian because, for starters, I would never recommend the pyramid
And
as a
and you mentioned dietitians are within a system that created these the pyramid, but these foods that we must eat, that the system says we must eat in order to maintain health, but
yeah,
that was based on different industries, the food industry also being a part of that. It is political.
correct.
It has nothing really to do, from my perspective, it's nothing really to do with health, because there are a lot of different industries that benefit from them, with that triangle saying that you should have, meat, dairy,
The
and all that.
USDA and the FDA are, well, more the USDA is responsible for that.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. And they do, and see, that has changed over the years, because it used to be, the food that you saw meat. The latest one, which is beautiful, is a plate, and it says fruit and veggies, and it says protein. It doesn't say meat anymore. And it is such a big step, because yes, we need protein, of course, but what are some of the highest proteins? It's our beans, it is our greens, it is our legumes. They are nuts and seeds. They are so high in protein. So having gone from meat, you have to have meat and dairy, it now just says protein, and it has a little plate next to it, and it says dairy. And unfortunately, it says dairy. It could be nut milk. It could, I don't know what dairy is there, because calcium is in all the foods as well. So why put dairy there? Maybe to support the industry.
Yeah, the dairy industry. And a lot of people don't know that, like, cow's milk, animal's milk, causes mucus.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you have asthma, if you suffer from asthma, cut out the cheese. Cheese is the most, well, actually, so is yogurt. Cheese, yogurt, and milk. They're the three. Well, dairy generally. We are not built for it. It is hard for our body to do anything with. It's a toxin, and yeah, cut it out and just have nut milk. Nut milks are beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to throw in there again, just in case we're not offering any medical advice here. Neither one of us are doctors. You have a certificate in nutrition. That's why you're here. That's why and I have learned about nutrition just as someone who wants to live a healthy life without medications, without going to the hospital. I'll be damned if I'm going to give the medical industry any money from me when I'm 53, but as a senior, I'm not taking those medications, and I'm not going to the hospital. So I learn about food and what's best for my body. I listen to my body. Like, during the last holiday week, they call it Thanksgiving here in the United States, but I remember going to the store. I called you, I went to Whole Foods, and they had all these vegan pie, vegan apple pie, vegan blueberry pie. And I was like, oh, vegan pumpkin pie. And my body just looked at it. I looked at the pies, and my body said no. And I'm like, wow, they're vegan. And my body was like, nope, don't that. My body's been wanting salads every day, salads, fruits every day. I'm like, okay.
That is amazing. And the other reason might be because you are so in touch with the food you eat that the person who made that pie might not be a vegan, or also might not have been in a good space. And just the energy from that food was not congruent with your energy. And that's a beautiful thing to realize as well, that our body also has that, that tipping point, or that repair. When we are stressed, we should go into nature and have bush walks, and walk on the beach, because that is the repair for our body. When we are mentally in repair mode, we need to meditate, we need to calm down, we need to, or in your case, dance a little, because do make yourself happy again. But so we have a bodily repair, a mental repair, well, and when I say body, I do mean the stresses of life.
Yeah.
Because it's all one, it's all connected.
Yeah. Body repair, mental repair, spiritual repair, emotional repair.
Have a good cry.
And that's the thing too. With emotional repair, a lot of people eat based on their emotions and the stress. That when a lot of people, when they're stressed or they're emotionally imbalanced, they'll go for salt or sugar or something that makes them feel comfortable. but that comfort is temporary because the body's working once you ingest it, like, okay, the body's like working
Exactly.
to repair, like, this is not working for us. That's what the body's saying. This is not working for us.
It's a short-term relief. That's all it is. It's a short-term relief with a long-term no benefits whatsoever long-term.
Yeah.
You're better off working out why you feel that way. In fact, if you do feel all of a sudden you want a block of chocolate, remember what your thought was. What triggered it? What triggered it?
Yeah. Great. Great point right there. Now I want to go to something is interesting. I go to here in the States, I live in Arizona, and I go to the store and it's winter here, okay? And there are cantaloupes and watermelon and grapes. And I used to eat those things because I'm like, oh great, I have watermelon in the winter. But then again, my body told me, no, don't eat those. And I started thinking, okay, if my body's saying no, these are not winter fruits.
Yeah.
You know, it's not seasonal.
Yeah, exactly.
Why is that important to eat
It's hugely
seasonal
important.
foods?
Hugely important. And we've totally lost our connection to it. So the fruits in winter is our citrus fruits, our mandarins and oranges, grapefruits. That are our winter fruits, very high in vitamin C and extremely high. And it's acidic as well. But from there, we go into the berries and the apples, and we have all the other fruits. When we lose touch with that, it has to come from another country. So you don't actually, environmentally, it's not really that good. But when we go back to when we were gatherers, we would eat the seasonal food. So right now, my blueberries are in season, and I'm eating every day lots of blueberries. But once that season is gone, it's gone. It'll be another fruit that season that will be in season. And look, it's a hard thing to know, but if you like, there is health, and then there is health, and there is health. There's so many different levels that, yeah, watermelon in winter does not really make sense. Look, it's better than a donut, obviously, but where did it come from? Is it obvious? Is it genetically modified? Who, what country, how many miles has it traveled? All those things come into consideration
Yeah.
when you start being more aware.
Yeah, you make a great point. And for those, I'm going to say again, San is in Australia, so it's summer there. That's why she has the blueberries, because I love blueberries, and my body, they're selling blueberries at the grocery store. My body's like, no, summer food. And I'm like, okay, I get it. And you make this great point. We have become, since the industrialization age, we've become so disconnected from our food that we don't follow what worked, which is eat what's in season and eat organic, because those foods that are not organic, a lot of them are genetically modified. And because we have totally, again, or become disconnected from the earth, we have depleted the soil of the organisms that produce the nutrients for our food. Now your food in the grocery stores, they have standards. They have to be a certain size, look a certain way. They don't care about nutrition, the nutrients in the food. I said I live in Arizona, and people have orange trees, and I didn't, it's just amazing. The oranges grow, I'm learning now, they grow twice a year. Winter, they come back, and then early in the year, again, oranges and grapefruits. So my neighbors give me their grapefruits and oranges. Well, I went to the store because the oranges weren't, the grapefruits weren't ready yet, and I bought a grapefruit from the grocery store, and look, yuck, it was disgusting. It was this, I'm like, what is this? It had no taste. Just
no.
nothing. I'm like, this is not a grapefruit. Where's the juice? Where's the ugh?
Commodity. That's what it is. It's a commodity. It's to make money. It's not for taste or nutrition, or it's just people want to buy grapefruit that has very low vibration, very low nutritional value, and that's where it's at. So I would suggest that people, grow a little bit yourself. Grow, even if you don't have a garden, you can grow it in a pot, especially herbs like basil. Basil is amazing, but most herbs grow really well in pots. And you can have it inside, you can have it on your balcony if you have a balcony. And eat some of that, use some of that, because that is such high energy, such high vibration. Now you can grow things like lettuces also in pots, or be a bit more creative. If you have young children, involve them. And here's a little tip: if you are a parent and with young children, grow things like radishes or lettuces. These things are so easy to grow. And this is what you do. When it's time to harvest, you just pick the leaves. You don't cut the lettuce off, because then it'll die. But if you just pick the leaves, it'll grow back. Now, if you do this with your child, I recommend that you pick not the best looking leaf, right? Let's say there's a hole in a leaf. Pick that one in front of your child and eat it, because then you teach your child that it's okay to eat a leaf with a hole in it. Right? Because as you said, the fruit, it all looks magnificent. It all looks like that. No, to me, it's Frankenstein food. But it's all like, here we are. So full of water, full of, sense. But so eat that leaf with a hole in it. I mean, how hard is it to eat a leaf with a hole in it? But do it in front of your child. Teach your child that it's okay, that it looks that way. It's still edible.
Yeah. And you thank you. You flowed right into my next question about gardening. I've been to your home in Australia, and I know you don't have a little garden. You have a humongous orchard with everything in there. It's just beautiful. So while a lot of people are still in lockdown, and I see this as a beautiful time to return to our roots
Oh, beautiful.
as gatherers, as farmers, and start growing, a little garden in our house, or if in our backyard. Do you have any suggestions on how we can start doing that, and what to grow, and what's best to grow? My sister wanted me to ask you, it's winter, it's winter here. She's in Texas, and she's like, ask Son, what can I grow in winter? Because, I told her, buy some seeds, because I bought a bunch of seeds, because I'm going to start growing my own food.
Wonderful. Look, Tiff, that is amazing, because everyone should know how to grow food. It's the very least we should teach our children, is to grow food, because it's not hard. Look, and I know you bought a lot of seed, but for the viewers there who have no idea, the best indication of what to grow, what time of the year, is to go to your nursery or your hardware store or health food stores, and they sell punnets. And the punnets that they sell are all in season. They will not sell a punnet that is from, that's not in season. So
punnet.
a punnet.
Okay, that's Australian. What's that?
Okay, so like it's a little
plant, like a little plant.
It's like a little thing like that with what, let's say, basil in it. So
okay, got it.
What do you guys call it?
No, we're little.
See, this is wonderful. So you will see, now that you know, you'll see it everywhere, because every health food store, even the hardware, they have punnets with food growing in it already, herbs growing in it already, beans, carrots, tomatoes, All the herbs, they've got it already. And the reason why that is so important to know is because that is the food that is in season. So I'm not going to say, well, grow corn in this month, or grow, because we are, it depends where you are on this beautiful planet of ours.
Yes.
Right? Even though it's summer here, and it's summer in Melbourne. Well, summer in Melbourne, it means you can still grow spinach. Summer here, you can't grow spinach. Spinach is a cold climate, leafy food from England. So it is originated from Europe. So it has to be cold, even though it's summer. So the best way to know where you don't need to know, they take all the thinking out of it. With the punnet is like how to grow it, where, like how much distance it needs in between each plant. It takes all the thinking out of it for you, but because growing your own food has so many levels.
Yeah.
Because then you can also grow food biodynamic, which is a whole new section. That's growing your food by the moon. Now, if you're interested, Google it, growing food with the moon, and you'll see that for every week, there is something that you can do in your garden. For instance, a new moon means it's kind of a rest day or rest week, and you kind of ponder about what you'll be going to be doing. But then for the rest of the month, it's like it's good to grow this or to seed this, and it goes right through the cycle, right up to harvesting. This week, it's great to harvest. So but it's very, very involved. In fact, it is so involved. This biodynamic planting by the moon, it's got to do with our body. It's got to do with all the types of food, and it is highly interesting, but it's so difficult. Well, I don't find it difficult. I studied it years ago, and I just do it naturally now. And the reason why you do something at the start of the month and not at the end is because of the water content. Full moon, when it's a full moon, everything has a lot of water in it. So it's a great time to, if you're harvesting things like watermelon, it's a great time to harvest. But if you're harvesting something that's got to stay dry, like pumpkin, you will not harvest that in full moon. You would harvest it in a new moon when there is no water content in anything. So you get to know when to plant, when to harvest, when to seed, when to collect seed, because I also collect seed. I always do that when it's a new moon, because full moon, there's a lot of moisture in the air. That's why it brings up, birth. A lot of animals, us included, give birth on a full moon. We get a menstrual cycle on a full moon. The full moon brings out all these energies of release, of giving, of water, of blood, all that. Whereas a new moon's got none of that. It's just like, yeah, we're having a rest here.
Yeah. And what's interesting too, you talking about seeds, and I said I bought seeds.
Yeah.
I actually Googled, I was looking for seeds all over the place in Australia, in Arizona. I even like Googled seeds in Texas because I'm going to Austin on when is it, the 24th? And it was so difficult to find seeds, but I found an organic nursery.
Great.
I did, and I bought seeds of foods that I like kale and spinach and the three different lettuces and tomatoes, peas. But it was a little bit of work trying to find seeds. I called places and they're like, "No, we don't have seeds." And I'm like, "Where are the seeds?" So people look into that.
Yeah, right now they do. Right now they do, because of COVID, because of the world is changing. We want to be able to, we don't want to be without food. So we are learning how to seed, how to plant, how to do all that. So right now there is a big shortage of seed. Some of my food, like with kale, I'll eat my kale and one plant I'll let go into seed. So that will be the seed for my next season. But generally, I find it very hard to find seed as well. There is just none around because people are buying it all to learn how to grow their own food.
Yeah. And I think that's beautiful that we are returning to our to nature, which is our true nature. We've also I did a recording of a video this week, Return to Nature, and it's all about, before there were pictures like on the cave, in the caves, before there were pictures and words and books. It was nature. We looked to nature, right? We
Yes.
worshiped the sun and the moon. We knew how to grow based on, like you mentioned, the moon. We saw nature as the
Oh,
goddess source. Nature was that spirit. We were so connected to nature, and we just become so disconnected. We don't know what our food looks like, what it smells like when it's coming from the ground, what I say it looks like when it's real food, right? Not Frankenstein food. You have children don't know where food comes from. They think it comes from McDonald's. Oh,
yes.
or vegetable come from McDonald's or grocery store. They go to grocery store and they think that's where it comes from. They don't know it comes from the ground. It's like when I moved to Arizona and I got to see oranges and grapefruits and lemons grow. And I was like, wow, I didn't know they were all green first. Because in the grocery store, they're not green.
Wow.
Yeah.
But so do you know that a green capsicum, or you guys call them peppers, is a red pepper, but not ripe yet? You knew that?
No.
Really
Yeah.
interesting.
No, yeah, no, I didn't. So
Oh,
the green peppers
uh,
are red
red
peppers
peppers,
that are
but
not
not
ripe.
ripe yet. Yeah, but they happen to be sweet enough to be eaten as well. But yeah, they like I've got green peppers growing or capsicum growing in my garden right now, and they're beautiful. But I want to leave some to turn red,
Yeah,
and I'll pick them when they're red. Wow, is that so? Learn
yeah.
something new about my friend every day.
I bet most people don't know that because, again, we're so disconnected from our fruits, our food source from the earth,
Yeah.
that no, people don't think about that, but that is spiritual because
Yeah.
that's where we began. We were so connected to
So
the earth, to our food.
you see, Tiff, and that is where I'm all about. So we've had 40,000 years of modern man. I mean, what they ate, that is my scientifically proven, right? Because they're all about our science, it has to be proven. Well, how about the 40,000 years of human existence? Isn't that proof what they ate?
Yeah,
That worked for them, you
yeah,
know. Uh, Hippocrates, he said, let food be your medicine and medicine be your food. He said that 2,500 years ago, 450 BC.
yeah,
What he was talking about, the foods that build us up,
yeah,
right? We don't need that scientifically proven. That is scientifically proven because we're still here,
yeah,
right? The foods that we have, think about the Garden of Adam and Eve. What did they have? Well, we know they had an apple tree, but, they basically had all the foods that they needed. They were surrounded by it, right? Where does it say it's okay to have donuts when you are diabetic?
yeah.
Diabetic. Sorry, I'm starting to talk a bit Dutch here. um, you know what I'm saying? Our green food has never caused a disease. Our alkalizing food have never caused disease. vegan food. There is not a disease that's attached to vegan eating. Think about that. All our diseases, everything that we got, and it's normal to get sick. I'm not saying you'll never get sick. It is normal for our body to throw out toxins. It's normal because we do this. We do have, and especially with stress, we go down, our immunity goes down, viruses come and go all day long. Everybody we have viruses, hundreds coming in and coming out and you know what our body does? Our tonsils go, we've got to fight this, and we don't even know about it. We don't know how many viruses our body fought that day.
Yeah.
And we don't know because we're healthy. We can do it. But if you're not healthy, you will get sick. You will get the flu.
Let the fur baby out.
Oh. Do you understand what I'm saying? That is our 40,000 years of research has been done for us. What did we do before sunscreen lotion? What did we do before wearing sunglasses and a hat and gloves and cover up? What did we do before vaccines, before medication? What did we do? Well, we went to our foods that we grew around us. And the doctors of that time, that's why doctors used to go, you remember that in the olden days, they were doctors that did house visits?
Yeah, house calls. Yeah.
That was a normal thing. You rang up your doctor, say, I'm not feeling too good. The doctor would come to you and he would look at what you're growing in your garden. And he needed to see that. And he would say, well, you need to grow a bit more parsley, or you need to grow this, or they knew about it. Doctors now are like this. They don't question anything, which, we need doctors. Please, we do need doctors. But if it's got to do with your own natural health, they are so the wrong person to go for, because they don't know nothing about it. They don't study it. They don't think about how come that you have thyroid problems. They don't study that. And we study those things when you connect the body to the mind, when we connect us to nature, to Mother Earth. The answers are all there, and all you need to do is start growing some food and have that connection.
Yeah, start growing some food and have that connection. And yeah, it's beautiful. We don't stop to think that our ancestors, were out there tilling the soil, growing the food, and that's what they did until, it worked before.
Yeah, how did they survive?
Exactly. How did they survive? They survived, and that's why we're here. But we have gotten away from all that. And here we are now, just
sicker as ever.
Sicker. Yeah, I remember in the States during the Democratic presidential debates, Marianne Williamson said they were talking about healthcare. She's like, we don't have a healthcare system. We have a sick care system. And nobody responded. They called her a kook. But she was right. We have a sick care system. Nobody responds to that.
Our system actually supports sick. They do not support health. And when you talk about it, they say it's got nothing to do with it. And look, and it brings up a touchy subject. It's not actually, let's just bring it up. It's the COVID, right? And there's a lot of fear around COVID. And it is such a huge opportunity lost, Tiffany, that the government didn't say, guys, we're working on a vaccine, but in the meantime, build up your own immunity as much as possible by eating fruit, veggies, legume, beans, nuts and seeds, sprouts,
and exercise. You're locked down. You can still exercise also. And
exercise, absolutely. Water. Drink lots of water, exercise, stay happy up here.
Meditate, yep.
Yeah, stay happy up. Don't worry about, you guys just have this health program. and we'll work on a vaccine in the meantime.
Exactly.
It is such a opportunity lost that they did not do that. In fact, I wrote to our Prime Minister, Morrison, and he wrote a letter back to me saying, yeah, that's all. Because I said, do you want me to write a health program? Very simple, just the basics. And he said, no, because we believe that the vaccine is still the only way to really get rid of COVID. And that is not true, because COVID is nothing more than a different strand of flu, right? It's severe. I mean, we get very sick from it.
Yeah.
But if you compare that to the flu, how many people get sick and die from the flu? Lots of people. And so
Wait. Again, I'm going to interject.
Yeah.
Not one of us are doctors.
None of us are doctors.
No.
So
that's your opinion. That's your opinion.
Yeah. Oh, it's all of it. My God, it's just my opinion. Please question everything I say. And yeah, please Google everything.
Some people will watch this and they'll get to this point and then they'll start trying to attack. And I just want to make sure San is not a medical physician. I'm not a medical physician. These are our opinions because people like to give opinion, but you are a nutritionist. So
I wrote to our Prime Minister. I did. And I said, I'm happily going to write this health program. And he said, no, don't worry about it. He said, no, because we believe that vaccine is the only way. That was actually his.
Well, that's sad, because that points to there's not one way. Okay, that's limitation, and that's the challenge with people who live in their intelligence, because they can't see the blind spots and they can't see other options because they're working on it. They're trying to create a solution from the same mind that created the problem. I know people have heard that, but that's it. That's what happens with intelligent people who have put, and this is humanity. Humanity has put so much energy in being intelligent.
Yes.
To the point where they're destroying the earth.
Yeah, where we are so dumb.
Where we are so dumb, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Look, and you, it is a good point that it is just that very one-sided, and it's never just the one thing.
No,
we can be healthy if we exercise, eat well, be well, feel well, give. If something is fear-based, that is scary. Yeah.
Yeah. I have trained and studied in formalized education, but also from my own experience, I teach whole person, a system of how do I want to say this? A system of expansiveness and transformative process and whole personness. We are more than a separate body. Okay, we're in a body, right? Our avatar, which we also have emotions, and we also have a mind, right? And spirit or soul, whatever you want to call it, but that's the whole person. That's the whole human experience. It's not just this one thing. They all are interrelated, interconnected, all work together. And I wish people could just see how it all works together. You can't separate the body from the mind, or the emotions from the mind and the body, or the spirit, which we are, the soul from the mind, the body, or any of that, the body, but that's enough of my.
That's for another day. I just want to say one more thing. So with our government, and it is probably with most governments across the world, but I'm just going to talk with our government. They do it on the umbrella of protection and our well-being. They do it for our own benefit.
Yeah.
And that is the bit that doesn't add up for me, because if they truly want to do things for our benefit and our health, why have legal tobacco use? Why have legal alcohol, freely? You can buy alcohol freely.
I have
Why,
fast food.
why have McDonald's on every corner of the street, or
Yeah.
fast food, anything?
Yeah.
Why? Why are the shelves packed with chips, chocolate, biscuits? If they truly care for our health,
Right.
because it makes us sick.
Why allow toxins to be shot up in the air, right? Why pollute the air, pollute the oceans, right? Why destroy our ecosystem? You're right. If it's truly for our safety,
Yeah, for
truly
us,
care.
they truly care. They do it under that umbrella of, you guys are said we're working on this 24/7. And why not? It's not, why not bring in the health food? Why not bring in the mental health, the physical, the exercising, why not? What do you got to lose?
Yeah. Why not? Well, we're going to
Stop.
we're going to yeah, we're going to come to a close here about body health, foods that strengthen our immunity. I'm going to, are there any last words regarding our body health, regarding, foods?
Last
Getting us back, getting us back to the foods, because we go from the foods to the gardening. It's all spiritual
it's all
and politics as well, but it's all together, right?
together. Yes. The last thing I want to say is that everything has a vibration. That
Mm.
includes our food. All our food has vibration, and and the higher the vibration, the better it is for us. So it's our organic green leaf foods that are that have the highest vibration. It is obviously the, the the animal protein that is the lowest, because in order for us to have animal protein, an animal has to be killed. And I don't want to leave it on a negative note, but it's not raised very nicely, and at the end is even more horrible. So that energy of that is very low. So the more we have of the best energy, the better we are.
Yeah, food has vibration. Food is live, like us, right?
Yeah.
Live food for a live body. When I'm talking about that, vegetables and fruit, live food for a live body.
True.
Yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank you so, so much. I didn't mention it, but you are also the creator of Sun Love Greens, and I have my Sun Love Greens every morning, and which is your green food powder.
Yeah, mixture. The
Yeah,
formula. It's a formula
yeah,
that I worked on for a long time, and it's just perfect to bring our immunity up, to build our adrenalines up, because our adrenalines are shot to pieces. And and it's beautiful. Tastes good.
it tastes great. It's beautiful. My family uses it. And like I said, I have it every single day in my kale smoothie. Mm, So thank you for that. If anyone has any questions and would like to contact you about um, foods that strengthen their immunity, or anything we've discussed, alkalinity versus acidity, how can they reach you?
Well, I am on Facebook, so it's my name, Sandra Kimler. On Facebook, you'll find me. Or email me if it's more personal, what have you. So that's also my name, Sandra Kimler, KIMLER @gmail.com. And
Yes.
I will answer all your questions. I'm very easy and approachable. I'm not that easy, but I'm approachable. And I will answer your questions to the best of my ability.
Thank you. Thank you so much, San. I appreciate your time and your energy, your compassion, and your passion for what you do, nutrition and health, and helping people to reach their level, of health that's sustainable. Thank you so much.
Thank
Love
you.
you, love you, love you.
Bye, Tia.
Bye
Bye.
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 Bye.